back and forth with Tyler tonight, and just what have you like?
I just think we both needed a little jump to energy to start the game. You seen it. We laughed and joked right after that. Like, I got respect for Tyler. He has respect for me. Those words, his words at the end of the day.
Things got a little bit juicy because Tyler Herro and Kevin Durant, they really started like chirping at each other, like back and forth, and you're just like, oh, all right, there's something going on there. And then it was obviously evident on the broadcast. And mind you, I'm at the arena, boots on the ground, so I don't know what's going on the broadcast, but Kevin Durant had the ball go off of him, and then like they were getting moody about something. I think he said to Tyler, like, well, what? Tyler's like, well, you getting all mad at me? He goes, because you can't guard. And it appears that Tyler Herro may have called him the B word. And, things kind of set off from there. So as they're reviewing it, there was a challenge. I believe they called a foul on Bam, and it stayed with the Rockets. And as they were coming off the floor, Tyler Herro and Kevin Durant start getting after it again. And Kevin Durant starts
shots and score a lot. Instead, you had a very measured and efficient 8 of 12 night from the field. Did you sort of feel just in your comfort zone that you were taking the right shots and didn't have to force?
Just letting the game come to me. That's very small-minded to think I have to come and shoot every shot, and that's not effective. It doesn't win games.
Have you ever watched a game where you feel the temperature change in real time? 1 second it's basketball, the next it's personal. That's exactly what happened the other night when Kevin Durant and Tyler Herro got into a heated sideline exchange. It was a blink-and-you-miss-it moment that turned into the most replayed clip of the night. The Heat rallied late to beat the Rockets. Bam Adebayo led Miami. But the thing everyone is still talking about isn't the final score. It's the fireworks between two competitors who refuse to play small. The Heat won 115-105, and Durant still poured in 32 points. But for a lot of people, the narrative of the game is now that back and forth and what it means for both players moving forward. Let's set the scene. Early in the game, after a play where Durant scored and turned the moment into a look and a statement, he and Herro had words. It escalated fast enough that both players picked up technical fouls, and refs had to physically separate them for a minute. Fans in the arena were instantly awake. The clip went viral on X and Instagram. Pundits hit the hot take circuit. Both teams kept competing. The game moved on, but the moment didn't. It hung in the feed like a charged comment waiting for a reply. But I appreciate his competitive vice versa. We can move on from that one. Not too serious. I'm glad we got text though. We didn't push to do nothing. Just talk, but the rest of the game escalated. Now, let's pull the quotes apart because words matter here. Post-game, Tyler Herro downplayed the whole thing, framed it as competition and energy, saying he wanted to spark his team and that at the end of the day, they were just competing. He was measured, the kind of answer that puts the onus back on basketball rather than beef. That's a smart PR move. Deny the drama, own the competitive edge, and pivot to team momentum. It keeps him in the young, hungry lane without letting the incident blow into a headline-only feud. Durant's post-game reaction was classic Durant, composed, slightly dismissive, and also a little cryptic. He told reporters that those words are just words. Added that he has respect for Herro and that both teams needed a jolt to start the game. Translation: he's not interested in making it personal, but he's not giving the moral high ground away either. Durant has always been the kind of star who controls the narrative by appearing above the fray while simultaneously making sure you know he's not backing down. That energy, calm on the surface, lethal underneath, is very much Kevin Durant's brand. I actually was hoping it at one point today, and they did hit buckets over each other. Kevin Durant ended up with a 32-point game. He's a monster. He's still, just ridiculous, but I was really hoping that Tyler Herro was going to hit like a big three in this game over Kevin Durant and then just motion the phones. So, what did we actually see on the tape? Durant scores, locks eyes, or mouths something. Herro responds. Words are exchanged. Technicals are assessed. Teams separate. Afterwards, they dap up and laugh a bit on the sideline. It's a full arc, conflict, cooling off, friendly public face. And that arc is everything for how the internet and narratives digest moments. The clip is short, but it's got chapters: the bark, the reaction, the separation, and the reconciliation. That's why the highlight exists outside the box score. People don't want stats for this moment. They want a story. Let me be blunt, this is exactly the kind of situation where star reputations get rewritten in real time. For Durant, this plays into a long-running image: elite scorer, chill demeanor, but with a ruthless competitive edge when provoked. KD can come off as icy. Sometimes fans call him aloof or even cold. But moments like this remind everyone he still knows how to get under opponents' skin when it helps his team. For Herro, this is a spotlight moment. He's a young guy with swagger who courts these moments. He wants the psychological warfare, the "I belong here" energy. When you talk back to a guy like KD, you either look fearless or foolish. Herro looked fearless that night. Very, very emotional with the two of them. That was where I think somebody alleged that Tyler may have said something about the burners, which if he did, hilarious. And Kevin Durant probably knew that was coming at one point. Here's where the nuance hits. Both players later emphasized respect and laughed together. That's common. Pros often publicize the after-game dap to make sure it doesn't morph into something ugly. But authenticity matters. If the handshake looks forced, the internet smells it. If it looks natural, the narrative softens. With KD and Herro, the post-game dap looked more like mutual acknowledgement than forced PR theater. That makes the exchange deliciously ambiguous. Was it genuine heat turned into sportsmanship, or theater designed to stoke a storyline? The ambiguity fuels content and keeps people checking back for round 2. Let's talk stakes. This wasn't just trash talk for vanity points. Timing matters. It happened in a close game where momentum swings can change the scoreboard and the psychology of both benches. The Heat were mounting a rally late. The Rockets needed every ounce of focus. A spark like this can galvanize a team, good for the instigator, or it can distract, leading to sloppy possessions and blown assignments. Coaches see these things as tactical events, not drama. Ime Udoka and Eric Spoelstra both have to manage not just rotations but emotional temperature. Which team benefits depends on execution after the exchange. In this case, Miami closed stronger. That's a factor when folks argue whether the back and forth helped one side. Now, because this channel lives for narrative and legacy, let's stitch this to bigger arcs. Kevin Durant is a generational scorer with a career full of moments that define him: rings, controversies, transfers, and clutch shots. But he also has a public persona that swings between beloved superstar and internet foil. When he engages like this, older fans lean into the "KD knows how to assert dominance" take. Younger fans may see it as petty. Either way, these moments pile up. They don't exist in isolation. One sideline spat becomes fodder for a season-long storyline about KD's temperament, leadership, and whether his presence elevates or complicates team chemistry. For Tyler Herro, this is a golden hour. He's still building a case as a core-level player for the Heat's future, a guy who can score, space the floor, and carry confidence. Challenging a superstar publicly is how younger players announce themselves. Think back to other young players who spoke up. Sometimes it backfired. Sometimes it launched legitimacy. Herro's tone and follow-up matter. If he continues to play confidently, take big shots, and back up the chatter, this will be written down as the night he stopped being just a shooter and started being a presence veterans had to respect. If he collapses under pressure in future games, critics will point to this night and say he talked too early. Legacy is built by pattern, not one moment. But moments like this are the bones. Let's examine public reaction because the modern NBA exists as much online as it does on the floor. Within minutes, the clip was everywhere. Fans replayed it. Creators slowed it down to lip read, and hot take channels drew battle lines. Some called it vintage KD toughness. Others said Herro got punked. Memes exploded. Social platforms turned a 30-second exchange into 1,000 comment threads. That's how narratives metastasize. Now, the velocity of the internet guarantees this will be a talking point for days, maybe weeks. But let's be careful with what we declare. The statistical reality from the game is clear: Durant was dominant in scoring and still finished as the top rocket on the night. Herro contributed, and Miami won. Both men can say the same thing. I competed. I showed up. The difference is how the league remembers it. Will KD's line be catalogued as petty villainy or as part of his on-court arsenal? Will Herro be praised as a fearless modern competitor or critiqued for seeking headlines? Those judgments will depend on subsequent behavior and, truthfully, what the media decides to prioritize. Stats can be objective. Narratives are subjective. Now, let's get tactical for a minute. Coaches hate distractions, but they love competitive edge when it's harnessed. Spoelstra will likely tell his team to use the energy productively. Don't let drama do your thinking for you. Channel it into defense, sharp cuts, and better shot selection. On the Rockets side, Udoka will remind players that rebounds and rotations matter more than headlines. These micro-adjustments tell us whether the exchange had strategic value or was a needless flash. The scoreboard and the way players perform in the next few games will be the true verdict on whether the altercation helped or hurt either side. There's also a redemption arc possibility. Two players scrap, media explodes, weeks pass, and then they meet again in a bigger spotlight, maybe playoffs, All-Star weekend. Suddenly, this spat becomes a subplot in a rematch. The NBA loves that. Rivalries are the bloodline of engagement. They sell tickets, drive ratings, and create long-term storylines. KD versus Herro isn't a rivalry yet, but small sparks like this are the kind that get fanned into season-long flames if both stars continue to bump into each other in key moments. For coaches and franchises, it's a variable to manage. Do you view Durant's sideline jab as a sign of elite competitive instinct that will help him win big games, or as a distraction that signals a bigger cultural problem with how stars use media and mic-up moments to agitate opponents? And for Herro, did he level up by standing his ground and taking on a veteran? Or did he flirt with being a storyline rather than focusing purely on basketball fundamentals? Those aren't rhetorical fluff questions. They're how legacies shift. Some will say KD's behavior is old-school psychological warfare. Others will see it as petty. Both views have evidence. Both can be argued passionately. That tension is exactly why people will be arguing about this clip without sleeping for the next week. Tell me whether Durant's trash talk is championship-level mind games or millennial villainy. And tell me whether Herro just announced himself as someone who belongs in the same conversation as the league's veterans, or whether he overreached for a moment of clout. KD and Herro handed the league a gift-wrapped debate, and the court was the arena where reputations could be advanced or dented. Two players, one exchange, and now we all have a story to stitch into the season's larger tapestry.